Well, in the following slides, I'm actually going to illustrate how a hexagon nut is supposed to be drawn. A nut and a bolt is in fact one of the most important member of any mechanical assembly and is going to be required to be drawn in practically all of them. So the students may kindly note that how this particular thing has to be drawn. The first thing is we are going to start from the top view. The first thing is that we are going to draw the axis, the two axes of in the top view, and obviously these two axes are going to be intersecting. So the axes have been drawn corresponding to the convention used for central axis. Therefore, it consists of a long hash, a shorter one, then a longer hash, and so on. Kindly note that these two central axes are intersecting corresponding to their longer hashes. This in fact is one of the sign conventions and it has to be properly taken care of. Now once these two axes have been located, the position of the nut in fact is going to be fixed in the top view. It cannot move left, it cannot move right, it cannot move up, it cannot move bottom. Well, the nut in the top view cannot move in the left, right, top or in the downward direction. But the thing is, it can very well move along the vertical axis passing through its center. This vertical axis happens to be perpendicular to the two central axes which have already been drawn. And the top view is, in that particular case, is in fact going to rotate with respect to the vertical axis. But in fact this is not the solution which we are looking for. In the actual solution, the top view is going to be oriented as it has been drawn in the present case. And the other thing is the moment the vertical axis is fixed, the axis in the front view is also going to be fixed. This means that in the front view also, the nut cannot move in the left or the right direction, but it can easily move in the upward and the vertical, upward or in the downward direction, for which we actually locate the position of the nut itself. So we locate the lower edge of the nut, and since we know the thickness of the nut, we can very well draw the upper edge also. So this fixes the position of the nut in the front view. After this, the rest of the construction is easy. We complete the top view first. We draw the circle around which we draw the hexagon, which is going to give us 6 corners. These 6 corners are supposed to be projected from the top view to the front view by drawing the projection lines, with the help of these projection lines, the front view is going to be completed. And in the remaining slides, we are going to discuss all these points, and we are actually going to construct these two views to illustrate the drawing steps in detail. Now in machine drawing, if you are expecting a grade of A or A plus, you should really come up with a clear drawing, for which you are supposed to take some precautions. One of the precautions which I have been insisting upon is that lines which happen to be construction lines, projection lines, dimension lines, all of them are supposed to be drawn with light intensity, while the darker intensity is reserved for the actual presence of the part. If you can make it out, you can see that The hexagon has been drawn with a darker intensity. It happens to be slightly bold also, while the line corresponding to the dimension line happens to be a thin line. Obviously, since this happens to be a printed copy, we cannot really differentiate between the two. But this is how it has to be done when you are making a drawing in the drawing sheet. Now the second thing is, it really helps to know before actually making a drawing about which part is going to be visible and which part is not going to be visible. For example, let's talk about the circle over here. In the final drawing, the circle is going to be visible. Therefore, if you happen to know the radius of this circle, you can very well draw this circle with a darker intensity the first time when you are actually drawing it. But talking about the hexagon, which has been drawn around the circle, since we do not know the length of the side of the hexagon, we cannot really draw it with a dark intensity the first time when we are drawing it. Therefore, all the constructions regarding to the hexagon are going to be drawn with a lighter intensity, and later on they are going to be darkened. This is how we are going to proceed with the actual construction of the hexagon, which is going to be illustrated in the next slide. Now the first step is to draw the margin, which in fact is going to act as a reference point to the to set the drafter if at all it is disturbed during any process of drawing. After the margin has been drawn, the next step is always going to be to draw the two central axes, and so our first step is to draw the horizontal and the vertical axis, which we just discussed in the previous slide. So these are the two axes. They are in fact the central axis, therefore they have been drawn with alternate long and short hatches. And kindly note that these two axes are intersecting with respect to the larger hatches, and the color code happens to be blue at this moment, just to indicate that they happen to be central axis, therefore they have to be drawn with lighter intensity. It was also mentioned in the previous slide that there happens to be a circle whose diameter is known, and the circle is actually going to be visible in the final solution. Therefore, we draw a circle whose center is where the two axes are intersecting. The circle has been drawn with a black color to signify that this has been drawn with darker intensity. Now once the circle has been drawn, we are now going to follow the steps for the construction of the hexagon. Since the length of the side of the hexagon is not known, we are actually going to follow a geometrical process of making the hexagon, and that particular hexagon is going to be indicated in red color, just to signify that it is a construction line, therefore it has to be with lighter intensity. I am repeating myself over here. We have the two axes which have been drawn as a first step. The axes are known, in fact they are imaginary, but axes happen to be the first step which have to be drawn. Therefore, we draw the two axes. They are blue in color, signifying that they have to be drawn with lighter intensity. After the axes have been drawn, we would next draw the circle, since in the actual final view, and that is the end solution, the circle is actually going to be visible. Therefore, we are drawing this circle with the dark intensity, which has been indicated with black color. We are drawing this circle with the dark intensity the first time we are drawing it. Now, next step corresponds to the hexagon. Since the length of the hexagon has not been calculated, we cannot know. We are going to draw the hexagon with a lighter intensity, and that particular hexagon is going to be indicated with red color. So this happens to be one of the edges of the hexagon. Kindly note that a pretty long line has been drawn. This line, since we do not know the actual length of the side of the hexagon, this line has been drawn with a lighter intensity. Now, once this particular line has been drawn, which represents one of the side of the hexagon, we move the drafter parallel to this particular line and draw another line tangent to the circle at the bottom side. This signifies the second length of the hexagon. This too has been drawn with a larger length, since we do not know the actual length of the hexagon. Now, since the interior angle is known, we adjust the scale of the drafter with respect to the interior angle, and then make another line which also happens to be tangent to the circle. Now, these two lines, that is line number 3 and line number 1, intersect at a point which gives one of the corners of the hexagon. Now, once line number 3 has been drawn, we move the drafter parallel to this particular line so that a fourth line tangent to the circle is drawn at the opposite side. The moment this particular line has been drawn, line number 4 and line number 2 intersect with respect to each other and gives us point number 2 of the hexagon. Similarly, we readjust the side of the drafter once again to draw line number 5 and line number 6 of the hexagon. Now it can readily be seen that the 6 sides of the hexagon are intersecting with respect to each other to give the remaining 4 points of the hexagon. 2 points of the hexagon have already been located, while the other 4 happens to be point number 3 over here, 4 over here, 5 over here, and 6 over here. Now, once these particular 6 points of the hexagon are located, we actually are now able to visualize the actual hexagon present around the circle, that is from 1 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 2, 2 to 5, 5 to 6, and back again to 1. So from point number 1, 3, 4, 2, 5, 6, 1, this happens to be the actual hexagon which is supposed to be darkened. Therefore, this is going to be darkened now. Rest of the lines, rest of the lengths of the line, since they were part of the construction line, they are going to remain as they are and are not supposed to be rubbed off. In fact, students may note that if some error in the construction of the hexagon is noticed during the evaluation process, we are going to actually try to locate where that particular error was committed, so that the grading or the marking can be done accordingly. For this, we require the actual presence of the construction lines which you are going to make on the drawing sheet, so that we know what actually are the steps which you have followed for making the hexagon. So the construction lines are not supposed to be rubbed off. They are going to be drawn with the lighter intensity and are going to be as they are. Now this is what the solution is going to appear like once the hexagon has been darkened. Kindly note that the hexagon and the circle have been they have been drawn with lines of unequal intensity, unequal thickness. They are of the same intensity, but they are of unequal thickness. This is just for the illustration process. In actual, they are supposed to be with equal intensity, equal thickness. But still, this is how the figure is going to appear once the figure is over. The red portion of the line, which represents the construction line, are going to be present even after the solution has been final solution has been achieved. They are not supposed to be rubbed off. Now coming to one of the checks of the problem, supposing the entire solution was done correctly, it obviously is going to result in a hexagon which happens to be symmetrical in nature. Therefore, if you draw a vertical line passing through point number 1, it is also going to pass through point number 5. And similarly, if you draw another vertical line passing through point number 3, it is also going to pass through point number 2. These are some of the checks which you can actually use to see whether the hexagon which you have drawn is correct or not. In fact, these are some of the steps which we also use for the evaluation process. If these points are not lying on the same vertical line, that is 1 and 5 on one line and 3 and 2 on the another vertical line, there is going to be something wrong with the construction. And since the error has been located right in the starting, it is going to be better to rub off the this solution which has been done so far and start making it again. Otherwise, you will end up in a position which might be what shall I say, which might be of a problem to you, because later on you won't be getting any chance to make any corrections. Well, just repeating the process. We have the central axis, then we drew the axis in the top view, then we draw the circle, then we came up with the rhombus, hexagon. Now the thing is, after this much construction, we now have to draw the view at the top. So all what we have done so far is we have drawn the axis, which means that the figure which has to be drawn in the top cannot move left or right, but it can in fact move along the vertical axis. Now the figure is going to be constrained the moment we draw excuse me, the figure is going to be constrained the moment we draw the bottom line of the nut, and since we know the thickness of the nut, we are able to locate the upper line also. Now kindly note all these lines which have been drawn in blue happen to be the construction lines and central axis. Therefore, they are supposed to be drawn with the lighter intensity. Now, after this, the 6 corners which have been located in the hexagon need to be projected to the other view. So this is the projection line for the first point. This is the projection line of the second, the next projection line, and the last projection line. Now coming to the circular arc which has to be drawn in the face of the hexagon located in the center. Since the radius of the arc is given, we actually locate the center of the arc and draw the arc.
Don't worry. I'll only charge you for
This arc which has been drawn in black actually exists since it is part of the nut. Therefore, it has to be drawn with the dark intensity the first time it has been drawn. This arc which has been drawn with black intensity intersects with 2 of the projection lines. Therefore, it gives this and this as 2 additional points. Now, if you draw a horizontal line passing through these 2 points, they intersect with the vertical projections at this and at this particular point. Now, kindly note that we are now going to draw the arc in the right face of the hexagon, for which we have located 3 points. 2 points on the vertical axis, and the third point in fact lies in the center. So since it's a geometrical property that if 3 points of an arc are known, there is going to be only one arc which can pass through them. But since you do not know the radius of this particular arc, what we do is that we use the trial and error process. We use radius of different values such that an arc is obtained which passes through these 3 points, and after some hit and trial errors, trials, we will be able to locate this arc in one of the faces. Similarly, we can locate the arc in the other face also. This almost completes the construction in the front view, which is drawn in the top. Only thing which now remains is darkening some of the construction lines, and once these lines have been darkened, the view which is going to be available in the next slide is going to be the final view. Now this is what the final drawing is going to appear like: a dark circle and a hexagon around it, also in dark intensity, in the top view, which has been drawn according to the first angle. Therefore, it is located below. Now, corresponding to this particular view, we have the front view, which has been located in the top. So we have a dark black line, horizontal black line, corresponding to the lower edge of the nut. Then we have 4 vertical dark black lines corresponding to the 4 edges of the nut, and 3 arcs also with dark intensity corresponding to the upper surface of the nut. This very well completes the 2 view, except of a minor detail which the students occasionally miss. That is a dark continuous line which is going to appear on the screen just now. In fact, this line is one of the errors which is committed by most of the students. It is always supposed to be drawn